ago, gave up. It was behind the Christmas duck on level 42.
I knew it. I figured out chamber 33 and f-stop.
Nice.
2 hours and 20 minutes. Beat that, bro.
What? It took me like 4 hours my first time.
That's why they call me the king. Stop that.
Oh, sorry.
You're just gonna bullshit something, man.
Yeah.
Kyle? Kyle? You know, if you continue staring at her, she can press harassment charges.
I can't breathe.
It was built around a VR conceit and a young man who works in an office who sort of is living life through choices through his VR compared to how he is in his actual life. I thought there was really great visual themes, in particular with sort of the color palette and the cinematography direction, in terms of trying to create a very grounded and relatable construct to allow this man's sort of personality to carry the film. I thought the lead actor in particular did a really great job of not just sort of reflecting the drab monotony of his life, but sort of reflecting how to break out of it, try to be his own person, and sort of make choices that can really matter in a way that it doesn't actually matter in a video game sort of setting. I thought the romance approach was very clever. There was a lot of subtle humor in that approach, and sort of established that chasing love and having his entire identity being trying to have this one girl might not necessarily be the correct choice. And I thought that it ended up creating an interesting way to view romance and self-identity through the lens of video games and practicing your life in previous settings. So I thought it was clever, or pretty smart given the grounded aesthetic, and I ended up enjoying it because of how committed the lead talent in particular appeared to the piece. So I thought it was quite well done.
Really clever subversion of lots of those sort of kind of augmented reality, simulation, virtual reality type stories. It really incisively investigates the desire to sort of project reality in favor of this sort of constructed fantasy, but it constantly shows what's wrong with this idea. Its eyes are very squarely focused on reality, which I thought was great. Having the game itself constantly reject that card's attempts to stay in the game longer and live there are really clever. And how the game's ultimately about trying to get Kyle to take control of his own life and being empowered in his own life, and actually engaging with the reality around him to try and make his life better and the world around him better, I think is brilliant. And there's also lots of clever formal tricks to help engage with this, like differentiating reality in the game by having reality be these really sort of cold, desaturated colours, and the game be really bright, poppy colours, only for then, at the end of the film, when he gets to the point, reality becomes as bright a colour as the game, which is such a powerful way to convey the core idea in a very with lots of emotional weight. So it's clever, it's moving, just as all the best stories should be.
The concept of this movie is so smart. I love how you think you understand what is heightened VR versus reality with lighting and action, but then by the end, your perspective of life versus VR is corrected. I love the lead character and his confident VR side as a contrast to his cautious reality side. The city and office settings are perfect for the film. There's a lot of subtle humor in this piece too. Great camera work, pace, and direction.
How the shots were kind of treated to show the transition between real life and game life, or so we thought. So yeah, you were kind of able to tell just by the tone and the coloring of the screen that he was in the game. And I love that kind of twist ending, that he was in the game kind of the entire time and he didn't even know. So we went along for that ride with him. But what a cool concept. And I think something that a lot of people in this real life would take advantage of. I mean, being able to simulate reality, while it kind of on its face seems a little bit boring, like, well, I live my life every day, why would I want to simulate it? Being able to relive your days and make different choices and see what choices yield what results. And obviously it had a very net positive effect for him at the end. He was able to fix his work stuff, be braver in his personal romantic life, and he was able to also make positive differences in the people that he encountered every day as well. I just thought this was a really clever and unique storyline, and it was awesome to watch.
I loved all the dirty over the shoulder shots of everything happening around the table, the different rack focuses, the different point of views of people, depending on who's speaking at the time. I mean, this boss is a pain. He's a stickler on time. You have all the makings of, that great film. He has the girl he likes, but he can't get the courage to approach her. All of the things that, you want to be better in your mundane life, but aren't. And then you have this VR game that mirrors your real life experiences. And through this game, he's allowed to let out all his stress from the reality in the game. But the game is dangerous. It only allows for 1 hour, so you don't confuse your reality with the game. And then he realizes that in life, I'm not going to get the girl. I'm not going to stand up to the boss. I'm not going to, do all the things. And I think that in a way, him giving up and releasing that, he chooses to live one day differently. And every single thing that he did during that day is not necessarily about him letting out aggression, but it's about him doing something nice and taking the pamphlet and offering, a donation and speaking to his boss, in a way that is respectful, maybe encourages his boss to speak back to him respectfully. And then choosing to live that day differently. To me, it reminded me of the metaphor of the game being life and choosing to live life differently. And not allowing your frustrations to build and to get you and to affect you till you get to the point where you need to release from them, but finding ways almost around the mountain of frustrations that we have in our lives. Because life, just like the game, just keeps getting harder and faster, and you can't actually beat it. But by being okay with everything in life, then you therefore can quote unquote beat life and therefore beat the game. And so once he is okay with where he is in life is when he therefore finds the cheat code to therefore beat the game.
The short is reminiscent to an episode of Black Mirror meets Groundhog's Day. We follow Kyle, who invests in this new therapeutic game called Relief, and it's a game that tracks out his day, customizing this game specifically for him. This world gives him the freedom to do whatever he pleases in this alternate reality, for which he does whatever it takes to get the girl. In this world, he's only limited to an hour of gameplay. So he has to think on his feet and essentially speed run through his game to get the girl. And so his friends get concerned that he might get lost in it, yet they give him a key to spend more time in this world. And it's the game sort of puts him to the ultimate test here. Does he want a relationship with this girl? Can he go on and move forward with his life without getting what he thinks he wants? This gives him the space to sort of work out these kinks, essentially giving the butterfly effect, seeing alternate endings occur. We all as humans have this urge of wanting things to go a certain way, and sometimes things don't come out according to plan. We have a fear of how certain outcomes might go. We question reality all the time, but we have to step up and we have to have these conversations, or else we won't really know the outcome until it happens. Sometimes the answer might not be what we want it to be, and we have to kind of work through those emotions and cope with it.
The premise is fantastic. And then from there, it just goes on to be this amazingly well-structured story with excellent payoffs and an extremely clever ending, and overall just an extremely fulfilling and satisfying short film to watch. I love the dialogue in this film. It's very quirky and offbeat. I love the sense of humor that this film has. The actors are great. They give great performances. All these things just work together so well and blended together so well. I really loved how clearly defined the character arc is in this story. I think the decision to really hit that hard worked really well and brings the film home.